Have you ever wanted to create your own handicapping dream team? You can now build your own superstar handicapping lineup using our Pick Your Team program at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Even more exciting, until Sunday, January 16th at midnight, you can save 15% off your Pick Your Team using coupon code PYT15 when checking out. Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, and Ralph Michaels, John Ryan, Joseph D'Amico, and Rocketman. The combinations are endless, and you can choose up to 5 handicappers. You start saving once you choose any 2 handicappers of your choice, and you can pay as little as under $6 per handicapper. Who will make your dream lineup? Just go to WagerTalk or Sports Memo, click Pick Your Team, and personally hand select your handicapping roster. Don't forget, coupon code PYT15 will expire January 16th, so make sure to get your 15% discount.
Happy Friday, guys. Welcome in right here to WagerTalk TV. I'm Andrew McInnis. I have Carmine and Bianco with me, just the two of us here on the show to close things out for this week. I want to take this time to thank all of you for joining me on my 5% play. Yesterday, we cashed a ticket on the Tampa Bay Lightning in regulation. A lot of you guys joined me on that, and I do appreciate it. I'll have a promo code for you guys for 30 days coming up a little bit later in the show. But Carm, it was a jammed-packed slate yesterday. In the NHL, capped off by the midnight game, or the late game, I guess, with the Vegas Golden Knights and the New York Rangers. The Vegas Golden Knights got the last laugh. Even with some injuries, they get the win over the New York Rangers. And I want to get your thoughts on last night and how everything went for you and stuff. But I got to ask you this. We know that as sports betting is developing and sponsorships with DraftKings, FanDuel, with all of these NHL and stuff, can information be getting released as late as we're starting to see it get released? I know Dave Koken was pretty upset in the summer about the MLB releasing stuff pretty late. Igor Shesterkin announced out from the New York Rangers, I think it was 30 minutes prior to the game. And I can guarantee you a lot of people that had the Rangers money line in their pockets, they bet that because they thought Shesterkin was playing.
Yeah, I retweeted it out when I saw the goalie project, who tweets out the goalies as they become official, tweeted out that Georgiev led them on the ice and Shesterkin went into protocol. I was on the other end of it. I was happy with that news because I was locked in on the Golden Knights at minus 140, and they went off at minus 180. So that shows you the difference a goaltender can make in that game. Not a lot of other adjustments as far as that goes. But 3-3 day overall yesterday wasn't the worst, wasn't obviously the greatest. 1-2 NHL. That my God, that I watched the the Columbus, New Jersey game, and the goalposts were ringing like crazy in that game, and it's margins. It's what it is. When you win one, you're happy when they go in off the post. When you lose one, you're pissed that the goalpost stopped them. But it's funny because the game previous, I think it was the night before, Chicago, we saw Marc-Andre Fleury hugging his posts after the whistle because there were so many goalposts in that game as well too. In that Chicago game, he was saved a few times, but we saw a lot of lower scoring games. Andrew, maybe the pond hockey per se is done. You look at some of the scores in last night's action. We see a lot of 3-2 scores, 3-1. Obviously, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Philadelphia can't stop anything right now, losing 6-2. And Zona in Chicago, 6-4. That was a pond hockey game. And then Colorado gets a couple late ones to make that a 7-1 scoreline. But other than that, 6 and under hit quite a bit last night. So we'll see if that is something that we need to look at, because the totals for the 2 games tonight are juiced to the under. So books are adjusting accordingly, I believe.
Yeah, they definitely are. And we were saying on the show that the second you start seeing more 6s pop up, or 6.5s, that's probably the time to start looking the other way. And it was a fun ride while it lasted, though, Carm. All these overs, player props, looking at team totals out the break. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Carm, I believe yesterday we finally had the last team to play their game with the Dallas Stars since the pause. Am any correction there, Carm? I'm pretty sure Dallas was the last team left to play. So unfortunately, that over theory I was riding with is over. But we cash another first period over with another team that hadn't played in a long time. I know Carm was looking at that exact play. He had that exact play. The Dallas Stars in Florida over the total. Unfortunately, Carm, I always tell you this. I know we have some games to get into. I cannot win a game that I have a side and total bet on. I just can't do it. I don't know if you do it NHL or soccer. I cannot bet the side and total. I had the Florida Panthers and I had the first period over in that game. First period over absolutely cashes, and the Florida Panthers lose in the shootout. It's just it's just a written rule for me. I got to write down all throughout my house because it just cannot ever work out for me. I cannot bet the same game side and total. It just never seems to work out for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. I've been on that scenario a couple times this year. I only remember the most recent one, which was the Chicago and Colorado one. I had Colorado tied to a money line parlay that hit. And I also had the over 6 in that game. So I finished 4-3 in OT. It worked out, but Chicago was up 3-2, I believe, at one point, and Colorado did tie it up to send it to OT. So it's one of those ones that could have gone the other way, but worked out in this case. My thought process, and it's not why I made the bet, but I thought Colorado was good for at least 3 goals in that game. So it would be very tough to lose both ends of that if they got the 3. As far as the total correlation and then the money line on Colorado. So it happens, Andrew. It's something that people do more in football and NFL more than anything else as far as like side and totals go.
Definitely. And like you mentioned, sometimes the correlation, we talk about it on the show. Sometimes if you like a team, you think they might have to win in low scoring fashion. It's going to be an under. You like a team, you think they're going to have to win in high scoring fashion. You think it's going to be an over. And that's kind of the story with the Vegas Golden Knights, what we've seen historically this season, I guess. And like you said, with the Colorado Avalanche as well. But 2 games on tap for tonight. We've got the Calgary Flames, the Carolina Hurricanes. Also have the St. Louis Blues and the Washington Capitals playing tonight, which should be a really, really good game. Let's jump into the first game here, the Calgary Flames and the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina minus 185 at home. Calgary, they're plus 155. Total is at 6 in this one here. Flames off a tough outing last night. Their road trip continues. They dropped that game 4-1 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They just couldn't get much past Vasilevsky. The defense kind of held it down for Tampa, but I will give credit to Calgary for kind of playing a good, solid, full 60 minutes. They did not give up. They kept on trying, and they really were, getting their opportunities. They just could not solve Vasilevsky. As far as this Carolina team, they're 8-2 their last 10 games, putting up goals during that span here, Carm. This is a team I released at 14-1 to win the Cup just last week, and they're looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, it's listen. The Flames will get better, but I don't think this is a get better spot for them. They started that that road trip in Seattle, and then Chicago, and then their next 3 games are just killer games. You go down to Florida and play the Florida double, where you got to play the Panthers, you got to play the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then you finish off in Carolina before you head home. That is not the easiest of trips. And while we while we might think that they're going to be better tonight, it's the tail end of a back-to-back. You're playing a Carolina team that hasn't played in 5 nights, so they are definitely rested. And even off that 12-game pause that Carolina did, I think they were lucky in the sense of they got to play their first game. Not taking a shot at your team, Andrew, but they got to play against the Montreal Canadiens. It wasn't the toughest of games. They were a little loose defensively in their next game against Columbus, and this is why I think coming home we see a better game from them here. They'll be a lot tighter on. They'll be a lot tighter defensively, which is why I think you're seeing the total juice at under 6 in this one. I just think we've seen, and I put Calgary in the category of a good team, whether it's a good or very good team. They're not one of the great teams that we can mention, the top 4 or 5, the Tampa Bay, the Florida, the Colorado, even the Vegas Golden Knights. They're not in that category, but they're a good team. They're going to be better. But we've seen good teams lose multiple games in a row. You saw Florida lose 3 in a row, and now they've reeled off 4 or 5 wins in a row before losing to Dallas. You see Tampa Bay, they're about to go on a roll. I mentioned it yesterday, and I'm going to mention it again today when I do my 6 and 60 at the end of the show. Look at the Tampa schedule. They got Boston tomorrow, but a very good schedule moving forward. They can. You might want to jump on that win train right now because they're going to string a bunch together. I just think this is one where Calgary drops a game tonight, head back home, and they get everything in place. Even with Markstrom. Markstrom didn't look good in Florida. We don't know if he's starting tonight or not. It was Vidar last night, but it's got to be Carolina here. I'd likely take Carolina in regulation time here. But if you want to lay the juice, I don't fault you for it.
Yeah, I'm seeing around minus 110, 115, depending on where you shop around for the regulation price for Carolina. You can even see plus 100 at some spots. So it's all about where you look. But nothing really more to be said in this game. I agree with a lot of the stuff Carmine just said. And I got to ask you one thing, though, Carmine, because we talk a lot about scheduling on this show. And I was looking at things earlier this morning for the Carolina Hurricanes. And look, it's tough for any team to play a back-to-back in general. It's tough for a team to play Tampa Bay one night and then play the Carolina Hurricanes the next. That is not easy for any team to do, playing the two beasts of the East in back-to-back nights, let alone in the later half of their road trip. But you kind of touched on it for a second. Taking a look at Carolina, their scheduling, last couple games, Columbus, Montreal, Los Angeles, Detroit. I think it's probably a good thing they had that little bit of a break because I wouldn't want to be going into a game against a pissed off Calgary team after you've played some bottom feeders. To me, that's usually a bet against red flag spot because let's be honest, this Calgary Flames team is a tad better than Detroit, Montreal, and I think Los Angeles. And Columbus as well. So I think it's a good thing for this team getting their rest. Like you said, having that 5-day layoff for them. They've got a lot of veteran players on that team. And for Calgary, the goaltending is an issue for them. But I'm going to go ahead and say I like the under. I think they'll get it done and keep things defensive. I think that they're going to, even though it's a back-to-back, and a lot of times I'd say that could lead to sloppy mistakes, I think that the key to success for Calgary in this game is good, solid defensive hockey. And that'll be the goal for them tonight coming out here. In Carolina, if you look, again, they haven't been playing the hardest opponents, but even look, the last time these two teams met, it was 2-1. Carolina played Edmonton, allowed 1 goal. They played Vancouver. They allowed 2 goals. They're playing very well defensively. They're not just a great offensive team. They play well defensively. So I'm on the under 6. I share the exact same thoughts as Carm about the regulation wager on Carolina. Carm, I got to ask you, are you with me on this wager here for the Stanley Cup with Carolina? Do you like that value on them to win the Cup?
Yeah, well, I had Carolina to win the East at plus 850. I released that to my clients. So, just getting to the Cup, we're going to make some money off of that one. I bet these totals. Totals. I bet these futures a lot of the times. Most of my futures, most of my futures are 10-1 or higher. Because I give myself the option of if a team makes it to a conference finals, if the team makes it to a cup finals or just any championship in any sport, I leave myself the opportunity of a big plus. They're a big plus money now, and you can hedge out and lock in a profit. I have one account of all my betting accounts. I have one account which is just a futures account. All I do on that is futures. And I do it with so the two bankrolls don't intersect or don't affect each other, and I can hedge out in one, and I just keep that balance rolling each and every year, and it works. It works for me. It's worked in the past, and I hope it continues to work in the future. As to tonight's game, Andrew, I agree on the under. I'm going to guess we're going to see Markstrom in net. He's been good. He didn't look good in his last start, but he still has been good. You figure they're going to be a little tighter defensively tonight. And if it's Freddie Anderson, he's allowed, you have to go back to, I think, November 20th to find a game where he allowed more than 3 goals, where he allowed 4. Everything has been 3s, 2s, and 1s. I think he's got 4 of his last 6 starts. He's allowed a goal. Like one of them was in relief where he picked up the win, where the starting goalie got shelled. But that said, he's been absolutely solid since coming over in the offseason from Toronto.
He's been great for them. And you talk about the great defense for Carolina. If you look at the stats on NHL.com or on the Carolina Hurricanes website, their star players aren't even that high up in the league in goals, assists, points, shots per game, dangerous opportunities. The reason being is that this team wins 2-1 games. They win 3-1 games. They're not winning the Colorado Avalanche and Tampa Bay Lightning type 5-4 games every night. That's not how they roll. So a lot of their players don't have these incredible high amount of goals or assists on the season because their team doesn't need that to win. They're so solid defensively, great goaltending with Freddie Anderson, winning these low-scoring games. So looking forward to a great game, but one more great game we have tonight, just a 2-game slate. It's the Washington Capitals and the St. Louis Blues. They're head-to-head. We do have a 6.5 in this one as the total, Carm. St. Louis, short faves here, minus 115 at home. Obviously, they had that win at the Winter Classic on January 1st. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, they did. And then they followed it up with a bit of a stinker in Pittsburgh. And that's, again, we talked about that game. 5-3 final, scoreless after 1 period of play. I had under 6 in that. So I wasn't happy about that second period. But the goals go in. I think one of them was a rainbow over Binnington's head off of his back and into the net. I don't know how those go in. They don't go in when you need those ones, but it went in when I didn't need one. With that said, the Blues have played well, but Washington just seems to be winning games, and they're normally very good off a loss without looking back at it. I think at one point, this year, it was like eight times off of a loss. I believe 7 or 8 times off a loss where they won their next game, and they're coming off a loss to New Jersey at home. Devils seem to be putting some wins together as well too. So maybe that was just meeting the right team at the wrong time. With that said, I'm a big Ovi fan. He continues to just absolutely score. If you look at the Ovi futures to win MVP, it has gone from I think plus 600 about a month ago to he's like plus 350 to win the MVP. He just continues to score for that team. This is one of those ones where, again, I'm not going to take a side, Andrew. I think 6.5 is too much. I think we see a lower scoring game again. I think the NHL games are going to start to gravitate back to unders. I'm not going to say every game is going under because it's just a makeup of some games where, like the Dallas game yesterday against Florida, where that just looked like a dead over, and definitely was. But this one looks like an under to me, and this is why they're making you pay for it on the under 6.5. So I'm going to go with the under 6.5. Wouldn't surprise me to see St. Louis lose another game. Sometimes a team strings, 5 or 6 wins in a 7-game span. They lose one, and then you see them lose a second and lose a third. We saw with other good teams, Florida, Tampa Bay, and possibly Calgary again tonight. Sometimes 2 or 3 losses in a row do happen. With that said, I don't want to touch the side. I'm going to go straight to the under here.
All right, I'm looking towards under 6.5, Blues and Capitals. I share the same thoughts. I like the under as well in this game, and a lot of it has to do with these teams looking at film, reviewing things. Like you mentioned there, this Blues team was up 3-1. All of a sudden, the Pittsburgh Penguins say not so fast. They win that game 5-3 with an unbelievable comeback on their part there. And the Blues, look at what happened in the Winter Classic game. They were dominating that game. They were trading goals, but that one finishes 6-4. You don't want to be involved in high-scoring games like that. And honestly, one thing about this Blues team as well, I don't want to say it's exactly like the Edmonton Oilers, but the Blues are really high up there in the league in power play goals per game. And if they don't get their power play share of time, time on the ice, they struggle. It hurts them a little bit. So we'll see if they can keep scoring in bunches. But I can tell you what, the coaching staff is going to be preaching better defensive hockey. If you get a lead, to hold on to things here. But Alexander Ovechkin and the Capitals, they're going to have something to say about that. I feel like they are live tonight. If I'm playing this game on the side, I'm looking towards the Capitals here, Carm.
Yeah, and listen, the St. Louis Blues, I say this anytime I watch a game where the underdog or the team they're winning a game. Don't play out of your skin. Let sleeping dogs lie. They went after Sidney Crosby. It was the worst thing St. Louis could have did in that game. One of their defensemen goes after Crosby, gashes his nose with his helmet. They both get penalties, or what I think they both got penalties. But Pittsburgh was an absolutely different team after that. I think the score was 3-1 at the time, and it was the worst thing they could have done. They woke up the Pittsburgh Penguins in a game that they had under control, and the Pens score 4 goals to win that game 5-3. So sometimes just let sleeping dogs lie, man. You just don't poke the bear, as they say, Andrew.
Yeah, and Crosby ended up scoring a goal, I think, like shortly after what happened there. So you're right. Sometimes it can get a team pumped up and motivated. Carm, we don't talk about props too much in the show, but I usually mention them when we have a smaller slate. I kind of wanted to mention about defensemen, because defensemen, a lot of people don't like to look for props. Yeah, they think of them for just obviously doing their job, holding things down on the blue line, be a defensive guy. But looking at guys like Cale Makar, Victor Hedman, and a guy like John Carlson for the Washington Capitals here, he's got a point in every single game since they came back. Prior to when the pause was happening, Carm, he was looking great as well. You can get Carlson to get a point at -125, 130. You can also get him over 2.5 shots on goal, around -110. This is a guy constantly getting shots in the point. He's on the running the point on the power play. And a couple guys that we'll get to as far as the St. Louis Blues, and I'll jump into that as far as my best bet goes at the end of the show. But I think the Capitals are live here. The Blues, I forgot to mention, 9-0-1 their last 10 games at home. So they do have a home winning streak on the line in this game. But I think it's only a 2-game slate, Karen, but there's actually 2 pretty solid games tonight that should be interesting to watch.
Yeah, no, it's good. This unbalanced NHL schedule just it throws me for a loop sometimes. You get like 13 games on a Monday, and then on Tuesday you have like one, or on the Wednesday when the press comes on, there's like one game. I love those days where it was just like Monday to Friday, 7 games every night. It gave us a nice menu of games to choose from. And because the problem is when you have a 2-game night, I have no problem at passing on tonight and just looking at the weekend games. But not everyone is in that boat. Some people want to have action, so they force action, and sometimes it goes south very fast that way. It's kind of like the Monday night game where the people are looking for the Monday night football game to bail them out. This is what this unbalanced NHL schedule does to us. We get 2 games, and then tomorrow we've got like 8. We would have had 11, but the games in Canada have been canceled, which is a bone of contention for me, Andrew, because we have a little bit of time. So I'm gonna say it. It is absolutely the wrong thing for the NHL to be doing, canceling these games in Canada, because of the fact of they're canceling them not because of COVID. They're canceling them because of revenue. They want full arenas to make money. At a time when we're canceling games because of COVID, we shouldn't be canceling games because of money and then looking to reschedule, because you're just going to hurt those teams when you have to fit in all of these games canceled in Canada. When you make these Canadian teams play these games later on and congest their schedules, you're going to hurt the team more than help it, and it's all in the sake of money. So I'm not happy about it. That's my beef for Friday.
That's an acceptable beef to have for Friday, Carm. I'm with you, man. I want to watch hockey. I'll tell you what, though. I do feel for these guys that have to play in an empty arena, because the vibe just seems completely different. And I 100% believe when these guys are serious when they say that it kind of sucks. You score a goal and nobody's cheering. You have like an exacerbated, huge, noises going on, the fake noises, the crowd noises. Nobody wants to hear that. You want to hear actual crowds and people in the building cheering. Unfortunately, we don't have that right now. But like you said, they want the revenue. And unfortunately, for some of these Canadian teams, they're going to have to play so many games in a short period of time to try and fill in, for the games that they missed and the games that were postponed. Luckily for me, I'm not really chomping at the bit to see my favorite team get blown out every game. So it's been kind of a breath of fresh air. At least the betting's going well. Speaking of betting, we do have some games tomorrow, like you said. We have the 6 in 60 segment coming up with Carmine Bianco in just a few seconds. Carm crushed it last week, guys. Make sure you check this out. If you forget the plays he mentioned, come back tomorrow, watch it again. Leave a like button on this video, and make sure you go to Carm's profile page, wt.buzz/CB, and get his client plays as well. But Carm, I'll hand the mic over to you. 6 picks in 60 seconds.
All right, let's do this. 6 in 60, Columbus and New Jersey. Second meeting in 3 nights between these two teams. The Post was the MVP last night. I'm looking for goals. Let's go over 6 in that game. Arizona and Nashville. Arizona won yesterday, but they've only won back-to-back games or 2 in a row once this season. Nashville seems to be rolling right now. Let's take Nashville in regulation time. Vancouver and Ottawa. Vancouver 8-0-1 since the coaching change. Ottawa, the 3rd worst road record in the East. Let's take Vancouver in regulation time. Tampa and Boston. I mentioned Tampa about to go on a streak. They won the last 5 games against this Bruins team. Let's take Tampa -125. Philadelphia and San Jose. San Jose got the win yesterday. They're going to look to close out their their road trip 2-2. Philly can't stop anything right now. Let's take +120 with San Jose. And finally, Dallas and Pittsburgh. Stars even money at home. 11-1 their last 12 games at home.
Dallas +100. Great job there. 6 picks, 60 seconds. Carmine Bianco. I love that segment. It is a lot harder than you guys out there watching might think it is, rattling off those picks, trying to give us some reasons why he likes them in just 60 seconds. Great stuff there from Carmine Bianco. Make sure you go to his capper page, try and find out which one of those picks is his favorite pick, and get his plays over at WagerTalk.com. And once again, guys, that long-term deal right now, net $299, gets you an entire NHL season plus playoffs. Any NHL handicapper for only $299. Let's jump into best bets, and I'll give Carmine a little break here for a few moments. I'll jump into mine. I'm looking at Jordan Kyrou. I see Carm panting in the side angle there, cracking me up. Jordan Kyrou from the St. Louis Blues. He's a forward. He has a point in every game since the return. In one of those games, he had 4 points. One of the games, he had 2. He's doing really well for them. They're getting him lots of ice time. He's finding the puck, finding the back of the net as well. You can get that at -130, 135. I found that one at Pinnacle. You can look at DraftKings, FanDuel, shop around. Make sure you find the best number for Jordan Kyrou to find the back of the net, or just get an assist. It's just to get a point for Jordan Kyrou. I have a special promo going, guys, for 30 days. I mentioned that one for the full year. NHL 119 gets you 30 days NHL action for me for $119. Make sure you check that out over at wt.buzz/AM NHL 119. Carm, it's time for your best bet. Hopefully you've caught your breath after that great segment. What's your best bet here for today on the show?
Yeah, first off, I don't have an NHL card up right now. If I do, it's going to be added just as a client play. So I would say that 3-day all access, where you can get all plays today, tomorrow, and Sunday, is a pretty good deal, because I'm going to have a 5% play up on Saturday in NHL, and I will have one up on Sunday as well. So those go for $35 each normally, and a couple soccer plays loaded already. My best bet, listen, we hit that Minnesota Wild plus money in the first period yesterday. We're going to go for another plus money play today. We're going to have to lay half a goal here. I'm going to take the Carolina Hurricane at home in the first period, lay the half a goal. You're getting plus 142 on your money. We possibly see a slow start from this Calgary Flames team that just played last night in a tough one in Tampa Bay. So I'm going to take Carolina first period, -0.5, plus 142 as your show best bet.
That is a great price there as well. Carolina first period, -0.5, plus 142. Carmine Bianco. I have Jordan Kyrou from the St. Louis Blues to get a point tonight, -134. He's been on fire for his team. And that will do it for this week on Puck Time. It has been a great week. Lots of great action, lots of great picks, lots of great information, lots of great guests as well. Hope you guys all have a great weekend. Do me a favor today. If you're watching this video, if you enjoy watching Puck Time, if you're making money off us, hit the like button, comment below. We really do appreciate that. On behalf of Carmine, Bianco, our producer, Dan, I am Andrew. We'll see you guys on Monday.
What's new in the NFL this season? First ever NFL Week 18 regular season games, NFL playoffs with 6 wildcard games, including a Monday night wildcard game, and WagerTalk and Sports Memo handicappers lowering the price for the NFL playoffs. Last season, the NFL playoff pass was priced at $149, but this year, not only have we lowered the NFL playoff price to $119, but included NFL Week 18 for free. That's right, for $119, you get the final week of the regular season, plus the NFL playoffs through the Super Bowl on February 13, 2022, including any 5% best bets. No coupon code is needed. Just go to your favorite handicappers page at WagerTalk and Sports Memo and choose the NFL playoff pass in the football dropdown. And don't forget, if you buy before this weekend, get the remainder of the NFL regular season included for free.